All right, looks like we're up. Try to turn it down, the music a little bit. What's up, guys? Good afternoon. I think I'm gonna do a quick learning sesh with DaVinci just to kind of get the ball rolling. Because I am dedicating today to mostly video editing and just chilling, honestly. If you want to chat, if you got things you'd like to share to get off your mind, just let me know. Got a favorite topic, like what game you want to play eventually? A game you would like me to check out for you? And give that a shot too. Alright, so let me pull up YouTube here. There we go. And we're just going to do like a DaVinci Resolve quick tutorial. Like, obviously, I am not a novice when it comes to video editing, but I kind of want to understand a lot of the nuances behind it. So I might just take like, I don't know what's up with my voice today either. I just felt like this tingling feeling in my throat like a few minutes ago. I hope that doesn't become an issue.
Render. I'm going to move really slow and show you every step, and you can even download media and follow along with me. Just click the download media link down below in the description. There are two versions of Resolve. There's the paid version, which is $300, and the free version, which is free. It's not
if you can find it on Facebook for $100
pretty much everything in this video.
It's actually,
this is essentially a course that we've offered on Ground Control for the last couple of years called Introduction to DaVinci Resolve. But we've decided to update the course.
And honestly, I recommend it. If you want to get into video editing,
well, my specialty,
give DaVinci a try over Adobe, because Adobe will just suck the living life out of your wallet.
And graphics and fancy stuff for your videos. And it's an amazing part of the app, but there's kind of a decent learning curve. That's why we have an in-depth beginner Fusion course called Fusion
at least
Zero
it
to Hero.
auto-saves.
We brought hundreds of students through that course, and we're convinced it's the very best way to learn Fusion.
Always a problem.
But if you don't know Resolve, you're not really ready to learn Fusion yet. So my hope is that you'll pick up Resolve and you'll start to love it and use it to make videos. I
do need to learn how to do
and pretty soon,
Fusion, though.
You're going to want to learn Fusion. That's where we can really help you out. For now, if you're just getting started with Resolve, my name's Casey, and I've helped people over the last 10 years, like millions of people, learn how to use Resolve. And I'm really excited to dig in and have some fun.
Here is just
let's go. So before we dive in, here's what you need. First of all, to use Resolve, you need a pretty darn good system. And I know pretty darn good is subjective, but we're talking about like a mid-range gaming PC, something with a good graphics card, one of the later Macs, like an M1 or M2 Mac, something that's pretty beefy. You don't want to try
just build a PC or ask me to build one for you. I will literally build you a PC. Don't buy a Mac for like $4,000, please.
You have to have a really good system. So that's a prerequisite.
Although I do love my MacBook.
Download Resolve. You can go to blackmagicdesign.com.
For video editing, it's just better. Like in my opinion nowadays, I used to be like that hardcore MacBook guy.
Resolve. In this course,
it's just better to just build your own PC. You're going to
get the free version and follow
along,
or you can
more
get
out
the
of your
studio
parts
version. I'm going to be using the studio version, but
than
most of what I'm doing
a Mac
is
ever
exactly
going to
the same
provide
in
for
the free
you.
version, and if it's not, I'll tell you. The other thing that's going to be helpful is a little bit of knowledge of editing and how video production works and media and that kind of thing. That's going to do nothing but help you on your Resolve journey here. If you've used other video editing apps, or even if you've done something like
I've done Final
audio,
Cut Pro. I'm actually very adept in Final Cut Pro.
Anything with tracks and a timeline, that's going to really
I could do better with color grading,
though. Really slow, and I'm going to try and explain everything the best I can, even for beginners, but just saying. The other other thing is time. This is going to be a decent chunk of time, a lot longer than this video is going to take, because you will need to put in some time to practice to actually get these concepts. So if you have these first two, that's essential. If you have a little bit of knowledge of how some media stuff works and the time to put in, you are going to do great. Now, if you want to follow along with me, you can click the link down in the description. It's going to be one of the first links, and it's going to say download project and media files here. And that'll take you to a page where you can sign up to download a zip file that includes a .dra. Now, this DRA file is a DaVinci Resolve archive, and it's basically just a folder that contains the project file as well as the media files. Now, the project file in Resolve is just the project itself with the timelines, bins, edits, compositions, color grades, all of the kind of data on the things that you've changed, the things that you're actually working on. And the project file is really, really small. The media files are the things that are really big. So things like video clips, audio clips, photos, sound effects, that kind of thing. And that stuff is separate from the project file. But in this case, for our download here, it's all put in one folder that's renamed a .dra file. You can double click on this
Happy to have you guys on the stream,
and it'll open up in Resolve, and it should look something like this. Once it does, you can double click it to open it, and you should have a project that looks something like this, and you'll be able to follow along with me. Again, this file is going to be in a zip file, and so you'll need to unzip the file, then double click on this, or on this screen in Resolve, you can right click and go to Restore Project Archive. Then you can find this .dra folder and hit open, and that'll open it just like that. So with all of that, you should be set to follow along. Now, if you're looking at this and you're like, gosh, there's just a lot here, and I don't even know where to start. Before we even dive into the interface, let's just take a step back here and take a look at what the heck we're even trying to do in this whole learning Resolve thing. First of all, what is Resolve? Well, Resolve is an end-to-end post-production program. And it lets you do, I mean, all of this stuff that you see here, all of these Hollywood movies have been edited or at least color graded inside of DaVinci Resolve.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, obviously, it's a very professional, very awesome.
You would think that these would be all
to create
made in
any kind of video
Premiere,
or film or TV show or whatever you want to make.
DaVinci Resolve is
media.
revolutionizing
the big idea here
everything.
is that all of these post-production things that you would have to do to make a movie, you can do all inside of one app. From your basic edits to color grading to audio mixing in Fairlight to compositing in Fusion. All of that stuff lives inside of Resolve. So you don't have to go to separate apps. You don't have to round trip into, a different suite of software. Some kind of suite that lets you be creative. If there were such a thing, might do it differently. But I think this is the real advantage to Resolve is it's everything you need all in one place. What's also really cool is that you can collaborate with people that you're working with over the internet or through your network, and you can all share a project file and you can all work on it at the same time. So in this little example, this guy's working on Fusion stuff while this person's doing color, and another person can be editing or working with media, and this can all happen on the same project at the same time. And so it really simplifies a lot of the headaches that you would have to go through to work on a big project with a team. But Resolve is also awesome if you're just working by yourself. The interface is broken up into different pages, and each page has a different job for post-production. So the cut and the edit pages have to do with actually putting your story together. The color page is for color correction. The Fusion page is for doing compositing and effects and explosions and all of those fancy things. And Fairlight is for getting really detailed with your audio mix. And so these different tasks are laid out from left to right in the app in sort of the order that you would take when you're actually creating something. Starts with media, and you would import your media, your video and your audio, and put it in your project, and then you would edit it and put your story together. Then you do the effects, then you do the color correction, then you do the audio mix, and then finally you would deliver it. You would render it out for other people to see. And so I love Resolve. I use it for my everyday work, been using it for years, and it's a really wonderfully designed tool to create YouTube videos, television shows, music videos, even Hollywood movies. It just has all the tools you need all in one place.
This guy.
And almost everything is available in the free version,
and I hardly
which is just
ever
nuts.
use
Pretty much
it.
all of the advanced color correction tools and all the awesome stuff you can do in Fusion, all the super powerful audio mixing in Fairlight, as well as the rock solid editing in Resolve are available in the free version without any watermarks or trial periods or anything like that. It's just free. It's just awesome. There's all kinds of cool hardware and stuff that works with the Resolve software. There's hardware for editing and for color, and even some super crazy stuff for audio mixing. comes in two versions, the free version and the paid version. The paid version is $2.95, the free version is free. And you may be wondering, okay, the free version, what's the catch? There isn't really a lot of catch, honestly. It can do so much. You can render up to Ultra HD, it has all the color, and it has so much in it. Oh my gosh. You can use it for commercial work. It's amazing. But with the Studio, you buy it one time, it's $2.95, and it just gives you a little more of the fanciness. It has some more effects, it has some film grain, it supports 10-bit video, it has resolutions beyond 4K, and it has some really cool different AI-driven effects and things like that. It's definitely worth it to pay the one-time fee of $2.95, and you get free updates too, which is just crazy. Like, I bought my Studio version back in, I think, Resolve 9, and I've been using the same license, and now we're on Resolve 18.6. Crazy. So yeah, if you don't know if you should get the Studio or not, just get the free version and play around with it. And if you run across a feature that is only in the paid version, it'll tell you. And if you just keep running into those features, then consider getting the paid version. But until then, just use the free version. You're gonna love it. So with all that out of the way, let's dive into Resolve. The first thing that you'll see when you open Resolve is something like this. This window here is called your project manager. This is where you can open projects, you can make new projects. A lot of stuff can happen if you right click on the empty space here. There's new project, new folder, import project, restore project archive, which we already talked about. And so this is where you'll, open a new project and save things and that kind of thing. Now, all of these projects, they live on a database, or as they call it, a library nowadays. You can go over here on the left and click Add Project Library, and you can tell it where to put the project library, and it's just a folder that lives on your hard drive where it puts all of your project files. All the project files and everything are really small, so you can kind of put it wherever is good for you, but all of your projects are going to live in that folder. Now, this is kind of weird for some people who might be used to keeping their project on a certain folder along with their media files and doing their own project management, but it's really not that big of a deal. You can organize your projects here, and it keeps them all on the same folder, and then you have your media files wherever you want on your system. You can keep those on a separate hard drive and that kind of thing. So if you have a big external hard drive or a NAS or something like that, all your media files stay on that part of the hard drive, and your projects all live in the library for Resolve. If you do want to save out a project and put it somewhere specific, you can right click on a project and go to Export Project, and that'll save a DRP file, which is a DaVinci Resolve project. And then you can save that wherever you want. And then that's the way that you could give a project to somebody else, or, you can back it up and that kind of thing. So it's easy to do that. It's just you're kind of making a copy of that project rather than actually keeping the project itself on a separate drive. If you have any questions about that, leave them in the comments below, because I know that part can be kind of tricky for some people. One other thing to notice about this project manager is up here on the left, it says local. Now, that means that this is on the project library that's on your system. But if you go over to these other tabs, there's network and cloud. And we'll skip network for this video, but if you click on cloud, this will actually open up libraries that you have shared on the Blackmagic cloud. So in order to share a library, you have to make a library with your Blackmagic account. It's $5 a month, but you can share this with as many people as you want, and they can all work on the same project with you from across the hallway or across the world. Yeah, seriously. Crazy. And it works exactly the same as what we're going to be doing, just on the local, but it's on the cloud. And there are some collaboration features and that kind of thing that we can get into later. But it's actually really nice, really well thought out system for sharing projects. But I'm just going to switch back to local and double click on our project to open it up. And when you open your project, it should open up in the edit page or possibly sometimes the cut page. I think a new project by default opens in the cut page, but this project that you download might open up in the edit page. Kind of depends on like what page you had open when you saved this out or when you closed it. But let's take a look at the layout of Resolve. Biggest thing to notice right now is this lower bar. It's always down here we have the page buttons, and when you click on any of these buttons, it will switch out the entire interface for a different page. So right now I'm in the edit page, but if I switch over to the media page, that switches to media mode. If I switch to Fusion, that switches over to Fusion, color, Fairlight, that kind of thing. And each of these pages is sort of like opening up a completely different app. So they're specialized for a certain post-production task. Just like you might open up a dedicated audio program to work on your audio, you go to Fairlight to work on your audio for your project. But the big advantage here is that all of these pages share the same timeline. And so here we can see we have our edit with the kids looking at the little alien puppet guy. And if I switch over to color, this is the exact same timeline, but in the color page. And so I don't have to export anything. I don't have to convert anything. If I want to do the audio for this one, I can just switch over to Fairlight, and I can zoom this in and really start working with the audio. And so that's a really important concept for Resolve, is that all of these pages, they share the same timeline. And by default, it's whatever timeline you have open in this page. If you switch to a different page, that's going to open the same timeline in the next page. So I have color page start here, but if I switch to edit page start, that's going to be a different timeline, which actually doesn't have anything. And I switch over to color, there's nothing there. Fairlight, there's nothing there. I can switch timelines by going up here to the upper right above our viewer, and I can pick which timeline I want. That's going to show me the most recent timelines that I've opened. And this project only has a few timelines, so we can see all of them. But I can also go over here to my media pool on the left in my edit page, and I can find my different timelines and double click on them from the media pool to open those up. I want to point out one really important thing before we just dive in here. In the lower right, there's this settings cog. This is the project settings. This is very important. If you click on project settings, that brings up all the settings that you want to make sure you get right kind of before you get started. That's the best way to do it. There's ways to kind of mess with this if you've already done some editing and everything, but for the most part, you want to make sure that your timeline resolution is what you want. Mine is set at 1920 by 800 because we have this widescreen footage. Timeline frame rate is 23976, which is what we shot at. And I definitely recommend opening this up and playing it around and just looking at all of the stuff. You don't have to understand all of it, but go through here and look at some of these things, because that will just help you get familiar with where some of these little annoying things that you might need to, switch a tick box or something. This is where a lot of those things are. Now, these settings have to do with just your project. That's why it's called the project settings. So this is stuff like, how big is the resolution of the timeline and what's the frame rate? And if I put a smaller piece of footage into this timeline, what does it do? Does it stretch up to fill the frame, or does it just leave it alone? All of that kind of stuff is controlled here in the project settings. And we'll be coming back to this a couple times, I'm sure. If this seems overwhelming for now, don't worry about it too much. But one thing to mention is if I click on this house, I can open up the project manager. I'm going to right click and say new project. I'll just say untitled project. When you're looking at a blank project like this, it's a good idea just to go into the project settings and set your resolution. If you want to work at UHD, switch it to UHD. If you want to do 24 for your frame rate, kind of get that all set up. If you're going to work with color management, like we'll talk about later, now's a good time to set that up really before you do anything else. And I'd say probably the most important thing is the timeline frame rate. Make sure that you set your frame rate right, because it's annoying to change this later. The resolution's not that big of a deal. A lot of the other things aren't that big of a deal, but the timeline frame rate, kind of a big deal. Make sure to get that right. And if you don't know what get it right means, it's probably the same frame rate as you shot at. And if you don't know what frame rate you shot at, well, you should probably pay attention to that.
Yeah, you should
because
really
different
pay
frame
attention
rates give
to
you
that.
Different looks. We'll take a look at how to find a piece of media's frame rate here later. But for now, I'm going to switch back over to our other project here, our downloaded project, and let's just work through these pages. So we're going to start at the very left.
Understand your camera
with
before
the
you even
media
get
page.
into the
just
editing
click on that,
booth.
that'll open that up. And here's kind of the big concept here. The media page is designed to be a workspace where you import media and you manage it and you rename things and organize things and kind of get your affairs in order before you start editing. You don't really have to use the media page. You could just stay in the edit page and drag your media right into the timeline and kind of start working here. But it is a nice way to be able to just preview media that's on your hard drive before you even have it imported into your project. And it gives you a nice big interface to be able to go through your folders and look at all your footage, organize things, and look at all of the data and the properties of every clip. And if you're into getting organized, you're going to be good friends with the media page. So let's kind of break this down. In the upper left-hand corner, we have our media storage panel. That's this part right here. And in this little list here, you can look at all of the hard drives on your system. And you can twirl down the folder structures, and you can preview any of the media that's on your computer. If you double click on a piece of media, that's going to open it up here in this viewer, and you can scrub this and play it back. You can turn on the sound if it has sound and play that back. And so this is actually a really nice way to go through and just see what footage you have available. If you mouse over any of these thumbnails, you can kind of scrub through the footage really easily. You can just kind of quickly look through what you have. You can grab this little slider up here and make these previews a little bigger, or you can make them smaller, depending on what you want to do. And this works for video as well as audio. You can scrub through your audio like this, double click it to
you hump on whatever day you want.
And
Not when you're
just
working.
a nice way to preview things. But so far,
can't get distracted,
none of this
Shane.
media is actually in our project. We haven't imported it at all. It's just on our system.
How's
now,
it going,
the
buddy?
media always stays on our system. We don't make copies of the media or anything. We haven't really added it to our project. Like, we haven't told the project that we want to use it. If we do want to add something to our project, we can just grab it and drag it down here to this lower part, which is our media pool. Now, the media pool looks a lot like this media
I am
storage
motivated.
right
I don't know if you
the difference is that this
go
media
into
pool
my
is a
Discord
list
server
of
that much. I sent you
media
a message
that's added to our project. So this is the media that we actually are going to use. We've told Resolve that we don't want to just look at this media on our hard drive. We're going to take this and we're going to put it in a timeline. We're going to work with it and actually edit it. You can't work with something in Resolve until you've imported it into Resolve. And anything that you have imported goes into the media pool.
Yeah,
okay,
so
this is all of the footage and media.
I'm basically just
doing
a quick refresher on.
And the media pool works very similar
to
the media storage. You can mouse over things and it gives you a little preview. You can double click on them to open it up in the viewer and you can scrub through. You can make these thumbnails bigger or smaller. You can switch it to list view or metadata view and you can look at all the time code information and all of that stuff for all of this footage. And so yeah, you can get really detailed with this stuff. In list view, I like that you can look at all of these different properties sort of in a spreadsheet here. You can right click on this top part and change the different columns that you want to show.
Muay Thai.
You can just get really deep. We could make this whole course just on the media pool. But again, all of this footage is actually imported into
so
the
much
project
money
now.
into
That means we
buying
can
that
work with it.
equipment.
So we've learned about 3 panels so far. The media storage, which is just the media that's on your system that you can preview here. The viewer, where you can preview things. And the media pool, which has all of the media that you've put into the project. Not copied out of the folders on your system, but you're just telling Resolve that you want to use it. Kind of adding it to a to-do list almost. In the upper right, we'll see we have these little buttons up here, and some of them are white and some of them are gray. If one of these little headings is white, it means that its panel is showing right now. So audio, when it's white, it has the meters and the waveform available, and when I click it, it turns gray and it closes that panel. Same thing with metadata. I have metadata open right now, and if I click that, it closes it. It just makes room for the other panels. And that's how a lot of stuff in Resolve works, is there's these buttons up here, and it opens and closes the different panels. Now, you can't grab the panels and rearrange them like you can in other software, and I actually really like that.
Yeah, I don't mind
because that means that I can't ever lose a panel. It's always in the same place.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've always noticed
the metadata
on
panel
the
is
other
always here on the right.
Now,
metadata panel is if you double click on a piece of footage, it'll open that up here in the metadata panel, and it will tell you all kinds of fancy information about it. Bit depth and field dominance and all these really nerdy things. And you can even look for more nerdy things. If you click on this little list arrow button,
what can I do
all these different categories
to just
of information
get more
here.
active
I like to
physically,
switch it to shot
because
and scene,
I don't want to.
this is where
I've been thinking, okay, I'll boot up P90X. We'll give it another go.
Write a description
as I
whatever
talk
this
to you
is.
about.
So it's roasting marshmallows
but
on the
I was
fire,
also thinking,
and I can put in
why don't
comments,
I
keywords,
try
all
to
kinds
incorporate
of things. I can color code this clip, and I can even put in data about what shot this
that's also going to be
useful. Take an angle, whether it's day or night. And I can really just kind of log my footage here, which for some
I think that's a great motivator. It gives me a rhyme to reason to working out. I'm not the kind of gym bro that just is capable
right here in
of going to the gym and lifting weights.
So depending on how much information we
just don't have
and how much information we really want to log and get organized, we can fill all this stuff.
I could do it.
Another panel is the
I'm
inspector
not going
panel.
to
The
want
inspector, this is a really
do it
important
long
panel.
term.
This
I know
controls the
I'll quit after a
properties
while.
of whatever we have selected.
Learning something
there is a
that
version
is
of the
like a
inspector in just about
self-defense
every
art.
page of Resolve.
I
so
feel like I would be
selected,
driven
just
to
the properties of in the inspector.
improve
and
constantly.
We're going to be dealing
And there's
with this
so many
a lot.
areas of
But just as a little intro,
and
you can
so
select
many
a piece of
different
media here
ways
in the media
to
pool and
practice
zoom it in and kind of change
self-defense.
its zoom and its position and everything here in the media pool, even before you add this to a timeline. And so you know that if you really want this zoomed in like this, and you're never going to use the wider shot, you can just do this while you're kind of organizing your media, and that might be helpful.
I think Muay Thai is actually really
things by clicking this little
a really
circle arrow,
cool
either the individual
martial
property
art
here next
to
these
start
properties,
with.
or the circle arrow plus in the upper right hand corner to reset everything.
Guess who I
And with
asked?
any of these controls, I can just grab this little text box and drag left and right to change that value.
I was thinking
I can
of
hold
judo.
Alt to move a little bit slower, have a little bit finer control. You can also just double click on this and then type it, 0.5.
They said Muay Thai.
And that works with pretty much every kind of control in Resolve.
All right.
We also have a capture
do it.
panel, which has to do with with actually capturing things from a film scanner.
I got a punching bag on the way.
We're not going to get into that.
I have
mostly what you need is the inspector, the metadata panel, and the media pool. So yeah, to import things into Resolve, you can go to the media storage and drag it in from the media storage like that into the media pool. You can also take footage just from your Explorer or Finder window and just drag this right into the media pool like this, and it does pretty much the same thing. Now, one thing you might want to do in the media page
is Brazilian jiu-jitsu
so you see how everything is kind of
that is close to where you live.
These are called bins.
That I did
so if you right-click in the empty space,
a commercial
in this context menu, you could say new bin.
I want to show you this because it would be so funny if this was the same exact Brazilian jiu-jitsu place. Hold on. It's not far from North Olmsted. Sorry, I'm doxing you a little bit. Not that anybody cares. Let's see. I also have like a nicotine rush right now, so I'm rearing to go. I set that wedding video to have a deadline of tonight. So it's getting done tonight. I don't even care. So yeah, this is the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu promo I did. Look at that thumbnail in the center.
Black Lotus Jiu-Jitsu here, we focus really on the true self-defense of Jiu-Jitsu and Gracie.
I did this a few years ago, and it turned out really good.
Striking, we do takedowns, we do clinch work. Focus is on the groundwork. We all have the same mindset. We all have the same...
Get the quality up. That quality looks like ass.
Idea of what jiu-jitsu should be, so that it's an awesome opportunity for us to really expand our program, expand our own personal learning, and then provide for our students to the best of our ability the best methods of controlling somebody when we're out on the street. And if you were to be in a situation where you need to defend yourself, your family, or your kids when you're out in the general public. If I were going to suggest, if someone's getting into jiu-jitsu, get into a gym and train. That is the most important aspect of it. You don't need to get into shape.
I was like getting low on these shots too. These guys were like so impressed. Like
when you get on the mat, you're going to realize
really getting in there.
Standing groundwork is going to really tax your muscles and really put you in a position where you're going to be fatigued. The longer you do it, the more days a week you do it, the better off you're going to be. Once we get into a situation where you have month on the mat, then you're going to feel comfortable coming in and rolling 5, 6, even 10 rounds during the open mat portion. The training portion is definitely an opportunity for you to learn the skills that are needed to defend yourself, or if you have that mindset of I'd like to do a competition, we have the ability to do a competition as well. We are not a sports style school at Black Lotus, but our techniques are very direct and classic jiu-jitsu techniques, which can be applied in a tournament scenario as well. One of the most important things that we focus on is our kind of mindset of clinch, takedown, submit. And when we start talking about our first responders, we think more along the lines of
it's like
clinch,
right down
control.
It's right down the road probably from your house.
We want to close that distance safely, take someone to the ground as safely as possible, and then take that
like right on the main strip of Lorraine
to the point where we are establishing complete control, so we can either disengage or finish the fight from there. We're located at 22241 Lorraine Road in Fairview Park, Ohio. Nothing is needed. Get into the gym, get on the mat. Everybody here has the same mindset. Everybody's friendly. Everybody wants to work with everybody else. Everybody has the mindset of like, let's all get better here. Something that is sometimes intimidating to individuals with no prior lessons or skills or grappling experience. We don't care. Come on in. We'll work through it. We've all been there. Get into the gym, and we'll get you on the mat, we'll get you suited up, and then we'll get you going in the right direction with becoming a black belt yourself.
I dropped my Zyn in my water, so I guess I'm just going to drink that water and have a complete nicotine fit. Well, not fit, but like, what do you say? Nicotine rush. I'm boosted. Yeah, so where is it? It's right down the road. Like a little north of the international airport over there. Didn't know that was I didn't know that was Cleveland's main airport. I didn't know that. I knew that there was like a NASA center somewhere. Right? Isn't there a NASA center close to where you live? Where you lived in your hometown? Not gonna lie, I kind of like Cleveland. Like, not that I have anything distasteful to say about it. Like, I know Cleveland has some weird history, especially with this. Every time I hear Cleveland, this is the first thing that comes into my mind. Hold on.
Yeah, we were just talking. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here they go. Liftoff. Amazing. And the
oh my God.
And there they go, John.
This was in the 80s, way before our time, but it's just like only Cleveland would do something this catastrophic to the environment and to people's lives. Oh my God, it looks like a parasite just engulfing the town for a giant balloon.
It is awesome, ladies and gentlemen, to actually be down here and see
I heard that was literally an environmental disaster that Cleveland went through with this balloon thing. What? How many balloons was it? I think it was like 1 million. It was 1 million balloons.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is no mistake on the lake anymore. Cleveland has now broken the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah, people do stupid things for a Guinness World Record. 1.5 million balloons.
Think of that, Chuck. The Guinness Book of World Records, the Cleveland home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Like helicopters and airplanes couldn't even get through eventually because of how bad this was.
Yeah.
This was a catastrophe. It's so weird, like,
it's been an exhausting
thinking how far away I thought Cleveland used to be whenever I was a teenager. And it was only like it's only like a 2-hour drive, you know? Alex and I could have easily seen you all the time.
With a hat and a fishing pole. The boat's motor is gone. Its sides are battered, apparently from pounding all night against this section of the break wall off Edgewater Park. That's where the Coast Guard found the boat about 8:30 this morning. Ironically, that big balloon launch in Cleveland today is one of the things that's making this surge so tough for the Coast Guard. Can you imagine trying to find somebody floating out here or even spotting a life jacket with all these balloons on the water?
It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack here, because you're looking for more or less a head or an orange life jacket, and here you have couple 100,000 orange balloons, and it's just hard to decipher which is which.
Did you know about this?
Because of weather, 60% of the balloons launched landed here instead of the planned 10%. Many of them were found on Lake Erie. But the balloons that
why was it not recognized by the Guinness World Records? All that work for nothing.
But at least they're no longer posing a threat to fish and wildlife, and they're not littering the lake.
The majority of the balloons ended up in Canada.
Michelle Holden, live on 5.
Oh, that sucks. Balloon Fest. Always remember Balloon Fest. Yeesh. Ew. The Atlantic. Hate those guys. All right.
Make a blank folder here, and we'll call this camping footage. Just a reminder, you guys aren't going to have this footage.
Dude, how did you not know about Balloon Fest?
Here.
That is like the most...
any footage you want to put in the folder and just drag it in.
That is the most, what do you call it? Cleveland thing that has ever happened to Cleveland. Where do my friends live out here? I can't remember how we drove there. How did I get here? I took 480. Got off on the Great Northern Boulevard exit. I know I drove past the Sam's Club. I remember there being a Sam's Club somewhere. Where's the Sam's Club? Over near you. Or where you used to be. Dude, there's definitely a Sam's Club here. What the fuck? Okay. Yeah, so my friends lived like close to Brooklyn, I think, or Parma. I can't remember. One of the two. But they lived in a really nice house over there. Yeah, I remember getting gas at the Sam's Club. The one thing I appreciate about Ohio is at least the roads are kind of straight. In Pennsylvania, it's just windy roads all over the place. Like you cross the border, there's no such thing as a straight road. It's like really few and far between. How's your stream going? Like, how are you doing with your with getting set up and stuff? Did your light come in? Dude, I am now wired on nicotine, and my Zyn is now in my cup, so it is just my whole cup's just going to be full of nicotine at this point. Which might not be a bad thing. I'm wired on caffeine and nicotine. I'm going to be talking quite a bit. Had to completely reset my computer yesterday, so I have to redo all the settings for OB. Oh, well, that sucks. Dude, you have to... That's why you need Stream... You should be eventually using Stream Elements, because what's nice about Streamlabs... is a nice thing about Streamlabs is you save that stuff and it will permanently save. So you can log in from anywhere and it will always keep your scenes. So you're not losing that stuff. Whew, man. I'm on the 3 mils and man, that is still a lot. All right, so we'll watch this for maybe I'd say about 5 more minutes, and then we'll
double click on the folder,
go back to editing
that up, and then it adds it to this list here. This is the bin list, and you can quickly jump to any bin just by selecting the bin like that. Now, you can make your own bins like this, but there's also something called smart bins. Now, smart bins are really cool. By default, there's a couple of smart bins happening. If I twirl down collections here, it'll automatically kind of smart sort some of my media. So here's video clips, here's things with just audio. And if you have the studio version of Resolve, you can right click on any piece of media and go to Audio Classification Analyze, and that will think about what kind of audio this is, and it will put it into the correct category.
I'm going to be using my Discord more often, though, so if
I go to this upsetmom.wave, go to Audio Classification Analyze, this is mostly dialogue. If I switch over here, it's put this in the dialogue folder because it's mostly dialogue. And so that can be really helpful to kind of get yourself organized just with those automatic kind of things. So I can just shift select all of this, right click, say Audio Classification Analyze. Again, this is only in the paid version of Resolve. It does this. It's not essential, but it is kind of cool. If I go down here to subcategories, there's all these subcategories that it makes, and it's pretty fun. So like here's ones with a lot of breathing, here's ones with bodily functions, here's one from a boat, apparently. It thinks that there's boat sounds or cattle sounds. And so it's not perfect, but it's kind of fun to see what it thinks your audio contains, right? So it thinks there's pigs and livestock and sheep and everything. So I don't know if it's, look, there's toilet flushing though. You got toilet flushing, rocked that. It was amazing at toilet flushing. So am I. And so that's kind of a cool thing. You could also, I'll just twirl up this collections here. If you right click under smart bins, you can say add smart bin. You can make a smart bin based on properties that you want to sort by.
Does it change color, or is it just all
bin, just like you would normally
is it just like a white light?
A folder where it just kind of moves this piece of media into the folder in the media pool? It actually is more like a filter, just kind of like these collections are. It's sort of like a search filter. So all of this audio isn't really in the dialogue bin. It's just sorted by dialogue. You can make a smart bin by saying add smart bin. And I could do something like media pool properties, file name contains, let's just say GC for ground control. And that's going to search for anything with GC in the name, and it's going to put those all together, right?
Oh, wow.
And you can even drill this down more.
Knew
so
that.
Anything that has GC in the name and, you know,
can you do this?
Scene,
hey Google, change
scene 1. So none of that actually is tagged as scene 1, but if I create this and then I go to my media, let's just grab something that says GC house door open.
If it wants to work.
We can go to scene and say scene 1 like this,
hey Google,
and then now in our smart bin we have GC with scene 1. And so we can get really crazy and get super organized. And if you're an OCD person, oh baby, you can just go nuts. So much fun. Another cool thing that's sort of related to this is you can do keywords. So if we were to go through here, if I hold control, select all of these and say,
I love how it doesn't work whenever I want it to.
Save, you should all have the drop keyword on them.
Change light strip to
Under our smart bins, if I click on keywords and then twirl this down, we're going to have keywords for various different things. So anything that has the keyword drop will be in those smart bins.
I'm set up.
Some keywords added for clips with our actress Gwen. We have things tagged as wide angle. And so definitely play around with this way of making smart bins, because especially if you have a bigger project than this, it's really helpful to be able to organize things like this so you can find stuff quickly, organize stuff by scene, that kind of thing. I'll show you one other cool thing.
Did you find any apps though for
this has already been done for you, but
for
if you
your
double
Sony
click on a piece of media, you can open it up, and if you happen to be using a slate, you can look at the slate.
Like, can you do any remote
control
stuff?
So we have scene 4, shot 8, take 1, and you can go through and listen to your audio and find scene 4, shot 8, take 1, which is right here. And if you have separate audio like this, you can control select both the audio that you want to sync and the video that goes along with it, and then you can right click and go up to auto sync audio.
Yeah,
and
that's
go down
what
to based on waveform. And
yeah, I've been wanting to remember how that works.
See it, is it will figure out where this audio syncs up with the video.
That is like such a good good thing to know.
And then it will link it to it, and it will just stick the audio in place of the on-camera audio. So if I double click on this and play this back.
Go check it out.
Okay.
No, you go check it out.
And so now we have this nice secondary audio synced with the lips. And you can right click on any of these clips, go up to clip attributes to change a bunch of stuff. But there's these tabs up top. And if I click on this second tab, this audio tab, after you have it synced, it's going to say link to channel 1. You can switch this back to embedded channel.
Like,
this is just the on-camera audio, how it was recorded, just so we can hear the difference here.
I can actually do something like this too. Like if it's like
and so now we have the on-camera audio, which is way worse. And again, you can right click, go up to clip attributes, and change this back to link channel anytime you want. And what I like to do is go through the audio in the media page and figure out the scene and shot and type this in for all of my clips as I import them into the project. And so if you have a project with secondary audio like this, it can really, really save you a lot of headaches later if you just go through and organize them like that. And the media page is a great way to do that. And then you just match them up, right? We can switch
seizure
this to
warning in case you have.
And I can right-click on this top part here.
What do you call
it? We'll just uncheck most of these.
Epilepsy or whatever.
Almost all of
this
these.
Thing wants
we
to
don't
be
care
like
about
very.
Most of this. We do care about scene, shot, and
very erratic
take.
today.
Everything else we'll just.
Ooh, what is
keep
this?
on synced up.
What is this? Something I never learned. Hold on a minute. I have to get my light back to like normal. Set light strip to white.
Got it. Changing the light strip to white.
All right, I need to raise it back to 60%. There we go. It pays to know what, also, like, this is for your benefit, Shane. It pays to, like, know what your light setting is on. Because, like, you can keep finagling with it every time you set your stream. But just remember, like, the percentages, like, of how, like, exposed or how bright your light is. Because you don't want it to be too bright, obviously. But you also want to make it so like you're not using too much of your ISO. Like my ISO on my camera is really low right now. But because the ISO is so low, it is really good with the quality at the moment. Let me see if I can pull up my Bluetooth and just see how the ISO is looking. Yeah, so my ISO is currently at 640. I could probably bring that down. Maybe to 400. Yeah, we'll bring it down to 400. 400 looks good. Unless I bring it down even more. Let me see if I can bring it down to here. Hey Google, set my room to 100%. Yeah, it's still too dark. 100%. Turn off all lights. Now you can't. Now I look like a hacker boy. I'm just like a silhouette. Yes, I'm hacking the mainframe. Hey Google, set light strip to 100%. Yeah, I have my white balance to 5100.
6 lights to 51%.
No. Turn off all lights.
6 lights off.
Set light strip to 60%.
Light strip to 60%.
Set light strip to 100%. Okay, now I turn my ISO up. I think 200's okay. I'm just like kind of blinded by, like, you guys can't see how bright my light is, but it's like super bright. But that's all for the benefit of making the camera quality better. Because like I said, the more you turn your ISO up, the more film grain you will see. So that's the hugest thing to worry about. And I'm also like really wired up right now, so if I wasn't ADD before,
if you have a project with secondary audio like this, it can really save you a lot of headaches later. If you just go through and organize them like that, and the media page is a great way to do that. And then you just match them up, right? We can switch this to our list view, and I can right click on this top part here, and we'll just uncheck most of these. Let's just uncheck almost all of these because we don't care about most of this. We do care about scene, shot, and take. Everything else we'll just,
we'll
keep on synced audio too, like this. And now we have the shot and the scene and the take.
Oh my God.
We can organize.
Hold on. Hold the phone. Let me go into my media pool. and check that out, because I never even knew that. So what is that? List. How did he do that?
Audio. Care about, check this to our list view, and I can right click on this top part here, and we'll just uncheck most of these. Let's just uncheck.
Oh my God.
We don't care about most of this. We do care about scene, shot, and take. Everything else we'll just, we'll keep on synced audio too, like this. And now we have the shot and the scene and the take, and we can organize them by shot. And this way, if we have everything tagged, the two clips that should sync up are going to be right next to each other, the audio and the video. You can see scene and take are the same thing. Right click, say auto sync audio based on waveform, boom, sync that up. Kind of go through here, shift, select both of these. Auto sync audio based on waveform, boom, like that. And you can go through and sync up everything before you even get to based on waveform, boom, sync that up. Gonna go through here, shift, select both of these. Auto sync audio based on waveform, boom, like that. Shot and the scene and the take, as we this top part.
All right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Here's where Alka-Seltzer Plus fights tough colds.
With tough congestion.
Tough aches.
Tough sore throat.
This is why you need a tough medicine. Alka-Seltzer Plus Cold Medicine. The leading cold pill only relieves congestion, but Alka-Seltzer Plus relieves congestion, sore throat, headache, body aches. That's tough medicine.
You bet it's tough.
Alka-Seltzer Plus Cold Medicine. It's tough medicine. For a cold with a cough, try Alka-Seltzer Plus Cold and Cough Medicine.
Are your teeth flat? Does your dentist know that? Of course. That's why he uses special instruments to clean between teeth. Well, now there's a new instrument you can use at home. Introducing Crest Complete, the first ripple toothbrush. Like a dentist's instrument, Crest Complete reaches between teeth, up to 37% farther than the leading flat bristle brush. So to help maintain a dentist clean at home, get new Crest Complete. Only Crest could make a brush this complete.
Can fall to levels where acid starts attacking teeth. These attacks can last up to 2 hours, increasing the risk of damage to your tooth enamel. That's when chewing can help. When you chew for 20 minutes, the chewing action produces and distributes more of your mouth's natural defense, saliva, which helps neutralize acid within minutes. So in addition to regular dental care, after eating, chew Wrigley's extra sugar-free gum, because chewing helps nature fight the acid attack.
Join me for a new season of Beverly Hills 90210
here on KXRN TV,
Fox 21.
Married with Children is brought to you by Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, starring Macaulay Culkin. Starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
America's smallest hero is lost in America's biggest city.
Can I help you? Reservation for McAllister?
He's in New York. Hiya, pal.
Oops. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
What kind of idiots do you have working here?
The finest in New York.
Rated PG. Starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
Now for sinus sufferers, the makers of full prescription strength Actifed introduce new Actifed Sinus Daytime Nighttime, the only sinus relief system that makes it simple to treat sinus pain right, day and night. The daytime formula breaks up sinus congestion so you can breathe without making you drowsy. The nighttime formula is maximum strength so you can rest.
Your sinus is better?
Oh, yeah.
New ActiFed Sinus Daytime Nighttime. Treat sinus pain right, day and night.
Is your bank's free checking really free? With no minimum balance? No limit on the number of checks you can write? No monthly service charge? Your first order of checks free? Does your bank give you free checking as long as your account is at that bank?
You've got to be kidding.
Well, Norwest's unbelievable free checking gives you all this and more. So now what do you say?
The vote is in, and for real value, dependability, and the best deal in Southern Colorado, the winner is Colorado Springs Jeep Eagle. That means Cherokees as low as $13,399, Wranglers from only $10,788, Talons from only $11,399, even Grand Cherokees and Chryslers exciting all-new Eagle Vision at special introductory sale prices. For real value, for Southern Colorado's best deal, and people who really want your business, the clear choice is Colorado Springs Jeep Eagle. See us now.
A quick reminder, Lubriderm lotion heals your dry skin and protects it. Remember, the one created for dermatologists is the one that heals and protects. See you later, alligator.
If you want a new car for under $15,000, you have 210 choices. But if you'd like 2 years free service, you can forget 206 of them. Introducing the new Hyundai Sonata, Elantra, Scoop, and Excel. The only 4 cars out of 210 that cover virtually everything. Even oil changes for 2 years. Free protection from Hyundai. Cars that make sense.
I can't tell you how it feels when you're way out there on your own tracking the bad guys. But finding those tanks and telling the air cavalry right where to hit them, I can tell you exactly how that feels.
Wow. George Lopez. Boy, he's a very funny guy. Yes, all right.
All right, I'm back. Let's just say I had a really good dinner last night. I think it is a little dark still on my camera, so let me adjust my ISO a little bit more. Probably right there. 320. Okay. Sweetness. All right, let's see what he has going on
here. And we'll just uncheck most of these. Let's just uncheck almost all of these because we don't care about most of this. We do care about scene, shot, and take. Anything else?
Well, I don't care about take, actually. And I don't think I really care about scene that much either. Because it's not like this is a movie, you know? It's the type. Yeah. Alright. That should be rather good.
We'll just, we'll keep on synced audio too, like this. And now we have the shot and the scene and the take, and we can organize them by shot. And this way, if we have everything tagged, the 2 clips that should sync up are going to be right next to each other, the audio and the video. You can see scene and take are the same thing. Right click, say auto sync audio based on waveform, boom, sync that up. Kind of go through here, shift, select both of these. Auto sync audio based on waveform, boom, like that. And you can go through and sync up everything before you even get to editing. And if you have a project like this that has the secondary audio, especially something that's like a short film like this is a really great way to do it, no problem. But you can go through here and kind of get organized, and that's really what the media page is for. Depending on what you're doing, this might be super useful, or it might be way overkill. Again, it's totally okay to skip the media page and just go over to the edit page. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Now let's talk.
Okay, so that's a good lesson for right now, and then we'll just go back to it maybe later today or tomorrow. But for right now, we're going to do some hard focus editing. I'm going to see if I can turn up the audio for these shots too. Is there anything going on? It might have been muted. That's okay. We don't really need it. That was a good transition.
She's getting closer, I can hear her. Oh, my baby. Doing that shit until I'm ready.
The color graded version is going to look so good. I will never get over that baby smiling at me. That is like the cutest thing. I did this pretty well. That's gonna be so good. That was edited very nicely.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the communion of the Holy Spirit be with you all. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon.
I'll send it to you in a Discord.
I know we're in church, but
or in Discord.
Still human beings. So this is just a glorious, glorious occasion, obviously, for both of you. But the fact that you have a full church, so many people here loving and supporting you, is just so glorious. You guys know this. You're not just passive observers, but when you attend a wedding, you're witnesses to what God is going to do to make the two of them who came in here as individuals one through this holy sacrament. We have come to this house of God, and the church shares your guys' joy and warmly welcomes you together with so many families, so many friends, as today in the presence of God our Father, you establish between yourselves a lifelong partnership. May the Lord hear you on this your joyful day. May he send you help from heaven and protect you. May he grant you your heart's desire and fulfill every one of your prayers. And dawn, O Lord, fill us with your merciful love, and we shall exult and rejoice all our days, that the favor of the Lord our God be upon us and upon the work of our hands. Alleluia. Let us pray. Be attentive to our prayers, O Lord, and in your kindness pour out your grace on these your servants, Taryn and Carson, that coming together before your altar, they may be confirmed in love for one another. Through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, God forever and ever. Amen. We'll now have our readings, so you can all please be seated, and the first reader can come.
The Lord said, "It is not good for the man to be alone.
Cool. I'll check it out.
I will make a suitable partner for him." So the Lord God formed out of the ground various wild animals and various birds of the air. And he brought them to the man to see what he could call them. Whatever the man called each of them would be its name.
Let me see it real quick. Sign into your Google Drive. No, let's do this.
So this is how I sound.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay.
The gain looks pretty good. Kind of only really covers up a little bit of my back slot here.
What I would do personally, like this is what I do with my stream, Shane, is instead of a 16:9 aspect ratio for your camera, just like give yourself more wiggle room and just do like a square, like how I do. I would recommend that just so it's not you're maximizing your space, your display space, if that makes sense. Unless you have something really cool to show, like on the side, or you're making like a YouTube video. Here, I'll put this up so that way you guys can see it too. Like, I think this is like good Twitch 101 etiquette. Where am I at? Right here. If you're okay with that. You right click and you go into the transform settings. But anyway, we're reviewing Shane's footage, and yeah, I would just do a square. So if you go into like into your OBS settings, just right click and it should say like transform somewhere. I would also add, like, I don't know if you put like compressor filters on your microphone. I would recommend doing that too.
Grainy. The light looks pretty good hitting my face.
And another thing I would do for your camera itself, if you add like a color grading, like this is a little advanced. You can here, I'll show you. I'll show you on my thing. Let me see if I can go in here without like making the stream look very uncomfortable. Let's see. Disable that for a second. Streamlabs. Yeah, so edit it how you want. I just need to make sure I'm doing this right. Hold on a minute. Okay, so this is my Streamlabs studio. It's going to look like this because I have to see what my stream is. But if you go into your camera settings, like yours is going to look different than mine. I have like so much stuff on my overlay, it's ridiculous. But here is my camera. And if you go here, that's where your transform is. That's where you can, like, you know, obviously, like I said, square it up, make it a little tighter. But also go into properties after that. I don't know if or filters. It might be different on OBS. In fact, let me go into OBS. It probably will be better if I just go into OBS and show you that. Let me see. I haven't opened up OBS in a while, so even if I do, it's not going to affect the stream at least. Skip it. All right. OBS. All right, here's OBS, and let me make sure it looks okay. All right, so let me get my, it's probably gonna mess things up because I have it hooked up to Streamlabs. But if you go here, click on filters as well, and add, I think it's, no, for the camera, it's going to be here. Like, go to color correction and adjust this, okay? Adjust these settings to make your camera look a little bit more crisp with and make sure to white balance and stuff. Like if you turn the contrast up just a little bit, it doesn't have to be a lot. Like turn it up based on what your camera is telling you, like what your image is telling you, but adjust these so that way you have pretty nice quality. Essentially, you want more shadows popping than you do like you want your mids and highlights to really, you want your mids and highlights to stand out, so try to reduce your shadows as much as you can without making it too dark. Underexposed, I should say. You can't see that? So, oh, okay, hold on. Damn it. Let me see if I can pull it up here too. Had to do some really janky stuff in order for this to work. Come on. All right, here we go. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, that's Streamlabs. Here we go. All right, so this guy right here. This is what you're looking for. Whenever you... I think I'm streaming on 720. Let me double check. But I might be streaming on 1080. I know my bit rate's at 6,000. And how is my bit rate doing? It's kind of average stream bit rate too high, keyframe interval too high. I might have to turn mine down to 4,500. You don't want it too high. Hold on, I'm just looking. Output is scaled to 1280 by 720. But my base canvas is at 1080p. I don't know if I can change that resolution. It might come as like you get more popular and stuff, like you start getting affiliated and stuff. But if you go into color correction, essentially go in here and adjust these settings until your camera quality looks like, until your shadows are down and your mids and highlights, basically like what the light is showing, are popping out a little bit better. You can even use the saturation. Don't mess with the hue shift or anything. But yeah, definitely adjust your contrast, adjust your gamma. Most likely it's going to be lower, and adjust your brightness, most likely going to be lower. Saturation, you could probably turn up just a little bit. You don't have to go too high on that. You can even mess with some other stuff too if you want. But I really don't see a use for doing any of this. This is like for chroma keying, like if you have a green screen. But obviously, I don't care to be chroma keyed, unless you want to just look like a ghost. You know, you're just like a face hovering over your video. A lot of people do that, but you need a green screen in the back, or a blue screen, or a magenta screen. I didn't even know magenta screens were a thing, but most likely it's going to be a green screen. The difference, like, people don't realize this, but you would use a blue screen for, like, I think darker environments. I'm pretty sure. Or is it the opposite? Well, no. You would use a blue screen if there's a lot of green in your shot, and you would use green screen if there's a lot of other colors. So it's based on what you have to expect, like what you're going to be wearing and everything. That's when you change that up, I think. But yeah, mess with that stuff. What did I change? I just changed like color correction. That's what I do. I don't go too nuts. Let me go back to your video though. Let me see. So with your video, I would turn down your brightness and your gamma and bring up your contrast, especially because your footage, or it's not even footage, your stream looks a little fade. It doesn't look, it looks dull is the best word of putting it. Oh, so you go to filter and then click on color correction. Go to the bottom part, not the top filters, but the bottom filters. Press the plus sign and then select color correction. I'm going to look at the rest of your footage here.
Still be able to be heard here.
It's just a blank shot now.
This back here, you should be able to still hear me pretty good. No whatsoever. See how the audio sounds.
Yeah, I would also like once you get the your cropping done with your camera, I would actually zoom in and make your face a little bigger. Unless you want to be that size, I would just make it a little bigger. I would also, since you're facing this way, like you know how your camera is, like your body is facing this way, I would actually shift your camera onto this side.
Nice and bright.
Just so it looks like you're looking at your screen. Like how I'm looking at my screen like this, you're kind of opposite. But yeah, the quality looks good, the sound looks good, or sounds good. All right, yeah. That's all dandy with me. Just like small tweaks. Left is where it fits. What do you mean where it fits? No, I mean move where you're positioning the camera on Streamlabs. Like instead of having it on the left side of the screen, have it on the right side of the screen. Don't physically move the camera itself. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're in the mode, like say if I'm playing a game, I'm doing this. I'm looking at this screen and I'm also like what the camera has this perspective, or the stream has this perspective that I'm looking at the center of the monitor or of the stream. It's not like awkward where I'm like this, okay? And I'm not even looking at the right spot. It's like this looks a little weirder, you know, than this on my stream. For your stream, here I'll demonstrate. If my computer was over here, like this is how you're facing on your stream. So have your image on this side of the display, and that will look better for you, is what I'm trying to say. Or alternatively, let me fix this. Alternatively, then do this. Then instead of switching it over, just right click in the transform settings, just flip it horizontally like this. So that way it still looks like you're facing like your monitor or your screen correctly. And it doesn't matter. Like, who cares if it's flipped, honestly. I flip it just to make it look more, what do you call it? It just makes sense. It just makes sense for your viewers. Yeah, I don't care if it's a good dead space, then fine, put it there. But just flip your camera, like, is all I'm saying. Because I'm sure your face isn't that terribly asymmetric. All right, back to what I was doing. I need to pee again. So give me a second. I'll be right back. Coffee's going right through me. Okay, I'm back. Now, what the hell is wrong with my audio? Come on.
and the two of them become one body. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
Brothers and sisters, strive eagerly for the greatest spiritual gifts, but I shall show you a still more excellent way. If I speak in human and angelic tongues, but do not have love, I am a resounding gong or a clashing cymbal. And if I have the gift of prophecy and comprehend all mysteries and all knowledge, if I have all faith so as to move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give away everything I own, and if I hand my body over so that I may boast, but I do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. Love never fails. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God. Real key, the way that God relates to us in the scriptures, he's a shepherd and we're the sheep, he's the king and we're the subjects, but the analogy that runs all the way through scripture is actually a wedding, bride and groom. The Bible ends with the wedding in the book of Revelation, and it begins with the wedding that we actually heard about in the first reading in the book
All's
of
good.
Genesis. So I want to start.
Take your time.
About the book of Genesis. The first book of the Bible is going to be a really long rumble. The first book, I'm going to go through all of it for you guys. Yeah, go. The first book of the Bible, what's God doing in Genesis? Well, you guys know, right? What does God do in Genesis? Is anybody in here Catholic? Anybody here Baptist? Okay. He creates. Two people raised their hand. That's awesome. God creates. Genesis literally means beginning. This is a new beginning. I grew up, I had to watch rom-coms because of my older sisters, right? Every romantic comedy ends with a wedding. But what we know from the very beginning of this ceremony, because you guys chose Genesis, is this isn't an ending. This is very much a beginning. It's an ending of you as individuals, and it begins this new adventure. That's why, check this out. She comes down. Carson comes down, Taryn waits for her. How do they leave? Together, facing out. It's really beautiful about a wedding, right? That you'll do your vows facing each other, but this isn't about you two gazing into each other's eyes. This is about you two gazing into each other's eyes, and then boom, you go out shoulder to shoulder because you're on a mission to share the divine love you've been given with the whole world. I drank like a 40-ounce coffee right before I got here. I was tired. And it's just like, I just feel that you're a missionary. Your missionary is not off. And your mission is love. It's your own missionary is off. You go out shoulder to shoulder. God created the Genesis, okay? What's he created, guys? Everything, doesn't he? Did you hear everything? Listen, he creates everything. And God, let me just say this. I grew up, I had a huge conversion in college, so I didn't grow up in youth group and that kind of thing. I grew up thinking God was boring and burdensome. Right? But imagine that. Imagine looking at the Sistine Chapel and not wondering about Michelangelo and who that man was. Imagine, we look at the Grand Canyon, right? We look at the Rocky Mountains. We look at there's nothing more interesting than a human being. Like, if creation is this stunning and beautiful and glorious, how much more the Creator? Amen? Amen? How much more the Creator? It's like if there's a painting, there's a painter, there's a sculptor, there's a sculptor. And if there's creation, then there's a creator. And if his creator is so extraordinary, how much greater is the one who created? You know, it's like, but like even with, you know, it's like without cursing, he's a good guy, like wonderful guy, things are going well. And Adam before Eve, like it was good. He was in the garden, like lots of animals to play with, you know, like really cool. But something was missing from Terah's life, and something was missing from Adam's life. And so God is so fascinating. He's a great teacher. He looks at everything he creates and says, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good. And then when he notices that Adam's alone, he says, it's not good. And so he says does this amazing thing. He wants Adam to name the animals. And what God is showing Adam is nothing but another person is going to be suitable.
So this is where I have an issue with on this video. And it's because like the ceremony is so long and the video is only allocated for 30 minutes. So I have to, hold on, I'm going to pull out ChatGPT right now. And I'm going to just ask ChatGPT what are some good options here as far as like what I can do to help like abbreviate this. Need to see if I can find it though. Let's see, I think it's this one. Here we go. All right, let me pull Marcus up here. My ChatGPT's name is Marcus, by the way. So where are we at? Opera. Okay. All right, let's get ChatGPT on the line. Hey Marcus, can you hear me? So I'm actually a little bit snagged with the with my editing process, and I wanted to see if you could help me out with that. So hold on one second, because I don't think it's pulling up. I don't think it's pulling up on your end, guys, but let me see. Audio, ChatGPT. There we go. All right, so I'm doing a wedding video, and I've been doing this wedding video for a few months now. I'm trying to actually just get it. It's going to get done today. That's my plan. That's my prerogative. It's going to happen. But I'm stuck at the ceremony. And it's a Catholic wedding, so what I have allocated is 30 minutes for this video. What can I do to abbreviate the preacher's sermon, but not take too much away from it, if that makes sense?
Also use reaction shots of the couple or guests to transition and condense the dialogue. That way, you maintain the essence without including everything verbatim. How does that sound?
Yeah, I guess I can try that out. I wish I could show you what this looks like, but I don't know if there's a way I can show you the whole video.
It's a bit tricky to share visuals directly here, but you can describe what you're seeing, or we can talk through the details. What part of the editing process is giving you the most trouble?
It's mostly the ceremony at this point. It's just like a long static shot of the preacher or the pastor, the father, whatever you want to call him specifically.
Got it. To make that section more engaging, you might try cutting to different angles if you have them, or overlaying some shots of the couple and guests. If it's just one static shot, you could add subtle zooms or pans in post-production to create some visual interest.
Yeah, I mean, I have two camera angles. I have one that is a static shot, and I also have me who is filming like in front of him. So I'm trying to make it as I'm trying to make it have some variety here, but the problem is the sermon kind of runs into each other, and I'm trying to make it so if I'm going to cut, it's not going to be awkward. It's not going to sound like it's going to cut him off very abruptly, you know?
To keep those cuts smooth, you might try using L cuts or J cuts, where the audio from one shot overlaps with the video of another. Also, you can use cutaways to reactions from the audience or the couple. These techniques can help disguise the cuts and maintain a natural flow.
Yeah, I know. Like, I know all about J cuts and L cuts, but yeah, I might try cutaway to see how it goes. But I also want to make sure I don't like cut things that may be like very you know, inspirational for the moment. Do you think I should just edit past the ceremony right now and then just come back to it later?
That could be a good strategy. Taking a break from that section and working on other parts might give you a fresh perspective when you come back. Plus, you'll have a clearer idea of how the rest of the video flows, which might make editing the ceremony smoother.
Okay. Yeah, and then I shouldn't even be focused on like the 30 minutes. I feel I should focus on just getting from point A to point B and then working about trimming the rest later. I think that is actually a smarter approach.
Absolutely. Focusing on structuring the ceremony's key moments first can make editing easier. Once you have that foundation, you can fine-tune the timing and flow. It's definitely a good strategy.
All right, cool. I'll leave you be then, and we'll come back to it whenever we have to.
Sounds good. I'll be here whenever you need more help. Good luck with the editing.
All right, cool. That was actually pretty helpful. So what I want to get to is this part here. Like this is it. This is the bread and butter of the whole ceremony. You're talking so softly here. I have to like really boost the audio up. Let me see if I can.
Lord, in his kindness, strength, and the consent you have just declared before the...
See if that will do anything. I don't hear them at all.
May the Lord in his kindness strengthen the consent you have just declared.
That's loud. But I will have to go back to that and try to raise their voices up a little bit.
God who joined together Adam and Eve strengthen and blessing Christ, the consent you have declared before the church. Let us bless the Lord. Thanks be to God. We'll now have the blessing of the rings. The rings are the incarnation of the invisible union that they've just vowed to each other.
All right, I'm just going to take a nice break because that's, like, it's kind of getting to me. And the longer I strain my eyes, the worse it's going to get. So just taking a quick 5-minute break and we'll hop right back to it.
Locked up, Luden's helps. Fast-acting cough suppressants with menthol vapor relief.
I can breathe.
For serious vapor relief, Luden's helps really help.
Experience the drama, the wonder, the beauty.
All you've come to expect from the A&E Network can now be found in Arts and Entertainment Magazine.
Here you'll discover enlightening articles, intriguing personalities,
and an expanded, improved program guide that takes you behind the scenes of the best in television.
To subscribe to Arts and Entertainment Magazine, call 1-800-238-2800.
Have your credit card handy when you call.
This election year, the Iowa caucus was held in North Dakota, Jenny's Cafe. The California primary was held on a farm in New Jersey. And Bud Monroe hosted the Democratic National Convention at his barbershop. Wherever you live, your local cable company is bringing the most extensive election coverage in history to your town. So you'll be better prepared to vote for the next president, who will be sworn in January 20th at the home of Charles and Nellie Sparks.
Maybe you ought to make one of them cream pies, Nellie.
Get ready for non-stop, no-holds-barred action when the biggest names in wrestling go head-to-head on Saturday night's main event. Al Bundy and the WWF coming up next. Code 3 won't be seen tonight, but will return next week. Stay tuned for a 1-hour special presentation. Saturday night's main event.
Nothing like a good workout, eh, boy? What's that you say, boy? You say the WWF wrestling special is about to begin?
Ladies and gentlemen, the World Wrestling Federation presents Saturday night's main event.
And now I, Al Bundy, am ready to meet the ultimate maniacs. Papa Shango, British Bulldog, and the mighty men of the WWF on this, the greatest night of my life. Buck, old boy, get ready to rock.
The World Wrestling Federation Saturday Night Main Event is brought to you by Mentos, the Fresh Maker.
thought about wearing shoes?
That happened.
That wasn't too bad, kid.
Pretend it's a game.
It doesn't matter what comes, fresh goes better in life. With Mentos fresh and full of life. Nothing gets to you, staying fresh, staying cool. With Mentos fresh and full of life. Fresh goes better. Mentos freshness. Fresh goes better with Mentos fresh and full of life.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
More paste, thick, and chunky salsa. Here. This ain't paste, thick, and chunky salsa. Well, woo, doggies.
Paste is made with big chunks of tomatoes, onions, and peppers.
Perfect for dipping.
By folks in San Antonio.
Who know what salsa should taste like. Well, this stuff's made in New York City.
New York City?
Jake, it's time you switch brands.
Pick up the thick and chunky one. Pick up the paste.
Always comes out at night. He always wears black. They say he's a vampire. We'll get proof. Check the equipment.
Only Freedom Zooms have Minolta's unique quad element system for the sharpest pictures possible.
He's coming!
And when you don't want to get near the picture, Freedom 70C zooms the picture to you.
He's not a vampire. He's an umpire.
Surprise your family with the best. Season's greetings from Minolta.
Boom! Dinner baskets at Burger King. It's a new concept. You gotta check it out. You get a choice of French fries or a baked potato. And a choice of a slaw or a salad. Only at Burger King. 4 to 8 where you get the table service. It's your way, right away.